but everybody, let's put it together for Kim Berns!
Yeah, so the woman who thinks it's Tuesday asked me for a ride. No, I mean, she did. And, you know better. You know people, and you're thinking, okay, that's the last thing I need to do. It's hard enough coming to Belmar. I'm from Rye. You guys know Rye? I took my boat here because, serious flooding. But, so Rye, so our town slogan is where white people go to breed. Missionary style. Yeah, that's about what goes on in Rye. But anyway, so the reason I know Jim, because I don't want any rumors going around, is I know him from doing comedy at the Comic Strip in New York. You guys ever come? Second Avenue? It's so fun. Anyway, so he's a great guy, and he asked me to do the show. And I really, I've never been. I don't know too much about New Jersey, but I've got some good jokes for you. Anyway, so he, so I said to him, I love the poster, the one with Debbie on it.
I'm sorry.
I thought, you know what, sometimes you just think you're taller than you are. and I think that shows healthy self-esteem. But anyway, so I texted Jim and I said, I love the poster, can you put it on Insta? And he says, hey, I'll put you in my phone. And I'm like, I'm in your phone because we're talking. And then I realized he didn't know who I was. So then I thought, you are such a slut. Like, anybody can just be in your phone by contacting you. I mean, women don't work like that, right? You guys ever get a text and, it's like blah, blah, and you're like, who the fuck are you? So, and then I started thinking, I know, Jim's a really nice guy because I heard things about him in the Navy. Yeah, and he's like, oh yeah, this friend of mine from the Navy's coming with his wife. I'm like, you mean his sister? Yeah, I mean, there's no secret that Jim went into cabinetry because he loves working with wood. I know, that's so good, right? I was so excited when I thought about that one. I'm like, oh, that's so rich. Sorry, Jim. But anyway, no, so I don't know much about New Jersey except for that I know that Nixon lived here, right? Yeah. Okay, I'm just saying. I mean, that's who I know. But, and Chris Christie, are you guys like sad that he dropped out? No. Oh, I'm so sad because I thought he had such a brilliant campaign slogan that he vowed to visit every diner in America. Yeah, I mean, what else could you ask for? And, I mean, you guys know better than I, because I actually have never been here, is, then he shut down the beaches, right? And we all know it's just because he didn't want anybody to see him in a bathing suit. All right, so that's what I know New Jersey and Jen. But anyway, so the presidential race, oh my God, I know nobody wants to really talk about it, but it's like, sort of, you kind of have to. And it's such a repeat, right? It's like, two old guys. And I'm thinking, if I have to listen to, another old guy for the next 4 years, I'm moving back in with my parents. The same thing. Just cheaper. But, yeah, no, it's really true. It's like, America has, done the unbelievable feat of becoming both boring and dangerous. Incredible combination. So I have a question for you. What do Mexico and Canada have in common? They both border on insanity. Yeah, and the thing about Canada, I mean, does anybody know anybody from Canada? Is anybody from Canada? Oh wait, no, I got somebody in the back, but see, it's really dark back there, so you don't exist to barely see you, because nobody knows anybody from Canada, right? Yeah, I mean, we think we do, right? And then, there were the wildfires, all that stuff that, you couldn't see in New York, and then they moved it over to Chicago, and You know, those were just smoke signals from Canada because of the presidential race. Because the last time Trump was running, everybody said, if he wins, I'm moving to Canada. And the prime minister, the very hot prime minister, was like, not on my watch. Not this time. So anyway, yeah, so that's the other thing. It's like, you know, women got demoted, we all know that, and, you know, we're second place citizens now, we're trying to, like, just look the other way and drink more. But, you know, what I was thinking is that I've got to live in this country, and it's bad enough, you know, that we got demoted, but then you have to, like look at some old guy instead of having a hot guy that you can ogle. Why don't we ever get any hot presidents? No, I mean, I know, the guys are like, oh, shut the fuck. But I'm like serious, because you look at like Trudeau. I could watch his State of the Union all night with the sound off. Yeah, or you go down to Mexico. Well, first of all, does anybody know who the president of Mexico is? Okay, El Presidente Cartel. Oh, you guys don't know this guy? Yeah. He's hot, though. Okay, so we got hot guys down there, too. In fact, I love Mexico. I spent some time down there. My sister loves to be, we go down to Mexico. And I was at a bar down there with her, and we were talking to some, you know, hot Latino guy. And I looked down, and I said, wow, is that a gun, or are you just happy to see me? And he said, it's a gun, you dumb gringo. Because, you know, that's how they roll. But anyway, so I don't know, is that about it for politics? I mean, it's such a terrible thing. Such a terrible thing to even think about. So let's think about how horrible it is that I have 3 boys. And no, it's my mother's idea. Because she's, you know, super devout Catholic. Name Mary Josephine, last name Baby Jesus. And now, and she said to me, you know, you're never going to go to heaven unless you've suffered a lifetime. So I had 3 kids, but yeah, and so far that's working out. But no, so the oldest boy, I'll call him Brian, because every time I call him by his real name, Max. And it gets up on YouTube on some show that I've done. You know, if that doesn't sit well with him, but anyway. He's a smart kid. He's a smart kid, but you know when you get one of these kids, they're really sort of self-centered. Anyway, he narcissistic, and it makes you almost nervous. But he's lazy, and this kid he won't do anything around the house. I mean, this kid has not seen hard labor since he got stuck in the birth canal. Yeah, that's what happened with him. But anyway, so I'm like, oh my God. You know, I'm going to raise a monster. But we were living in Manhattan, and then I thought, okay, you know, I was tired of living in a prison cell. Now, I know some of you here are comfortable with that yourselves, but anyway, so that's when we moved to White Rye, and I thought, oh, I'm going to have this, like, really nice little girl, you know, so that I can sort of, like, blow off the narcissistic boy child. And so God is so funny. I got twin boys, and Brian, really Max, was so pissed that to this day we just call them the brothers. Yeah, no names. It's sort of easier that way because it kind of removes you from the whole situation. But anyway, so one of them, when he was born. You know, people will come visit you, and ladies, we know, you're always like, please don't come visit me. Like, the last thing you need, you're like wrecked, you're a mess, you're like, you know, and then everybody's got to come see the train wreck. That's the high point of their day. But, so anyway, so it wasn't even me that was as bad as when they saw this one of the twins, and, you know, because with twins, one of them's always undercooked, and, so this one kid comes out and he looks like an Olympian, you know what I'm saying? Like he could just, you know, just go throw javelin and win all sorts of, you know, medals. And the other one, you know, when I really looked at him, I'm like, he looks like Gandhi in the later years. No, I mean, you're scared to death. And they say there's nothing like a mother's love. I'm like, bullshit. We have our limits, people. and then these people that you said don't come visit me, these frenemies of yours who are just coming, to see the train wreck, then they're like, who does he look like? Of course they had to ask that, right? So, you can't ignore the baby anymore. And I said, oh, I don't know, my sister's second husband. I mean, really? And in the old days it was always said, oh, maybe it's the mailman. And I'm like, have you ever seen a mailman that's got time to come in your house and do that? I mean, these guys, that's why they don't have any doors. They're jumping in and out. They don't have time. I mean, it was never the mailman. You know who it usually was? It was usually the contractor. No, seriously. I mean, you don't know when these people are coming or going. Anyway, okay, that's so good. You gotta admit that's good. But, so you got these 3 boys, and if you're a mom of boys, you gotta be tough. It's like, combat. It's like the armed services. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm tough. So I do stuff with them. We go skiing. We're up in Vermont for a week in February. -11, mid-mountain, midday. And they're like, oh, Mom, your eyes are watering, and you're like weeping. I'm like, but you cannot show them your weakness, right? And no, you can't, because they'll take you out. But one time, and then I realized as I was like coming down, I'm like, actually, I've been in New Jersey at night. One other time, Mountain Creek Ski Lodge. You know that place I get skiing at night? Oh my God, for Christ's sake! So these horrible people talked me into driving them to Mountain Creek. And I don't know if people know. I mean, anybody know the biggest difference between day skiing and night skiing? You can see in the day. That's really true. You can see. I mean, you can see in front of you. But anyway, so then you try to be a hero with all the crap that other moms are doing. Like game night. You guys know about game night? I'm like, well, I played Monopoly for like an hour. Like there's only, there's a limit to how much, and I'm like, do you have to play all night? So, I mean, because I was thinking, this is so not my style. So finally I'm like, okay, don't want them to be scarred, go out and, serial killer type tendencies, so they have game night. So I'm like, guys, we're gonna do game night. And, they're like, Russian roulette? Okay, fine, so now you know that my instincts were correct to avoid game night. But anyway, so again, I'm so happy to be here in Belmar, New Jersey. So just kidding. But I've done some other really fabulous shows. I did a show in Ossining, New York. Do you guys know? That's where the prison is.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So Sing Sing, which of course sounds like a happy nursery school. I'm thinking, some really sadistic person came up with that. It's like, let's make it sound fabulous. And I'm like, no. But no, so you go there to do a show, and the best thing about it is, talk about a captive audience. Yeah, I mean, it's good. So that's good. The only difficulty really is, well, first of all, if I were in prison, I mean, how boring would that be? I mean, in the same circle of friends. I mean, it just, the whole thing was done. But, when you're going in, there's that cavity search. I don't know if you guys have ever had this done. And, maybe a little nervous. They found 2 small bottles of tequila and some eye cream. But I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't know how long I was going to be there. So I'm, hedging my bet on that. And anyway, but at least I found out that, one of the nice officers there, very politely recommended vaginal rejuvenation. So I felt like I really got something out of the whole situation. I ended up doing the prison job because I actually had a very glamorous situation in Paris, France, where I did a show the month before, and in English. They do. Some people speak English over there, and I'm one of them. And anyway, so it was really a blast, and I felt like I had to go over and tell the French women how we had been demoted in America. And the thing you got to know is that the French government do not control women's bodies. That's what the men do, okay? They call it romance, but yeah, no, so it's a totally different animal over there, and it's the sort of thing where, you know, they don't hate Americans, they just look at you like, you know, they're best in show and you're from the kill shelter, you know. It's not complicated. You know, and you kind of got to just go along, you got to go with the culture, you know, you go over there, you got to go with the flow, you can't be like resisting the French are in France, and you know, they're more easygoing than you realize. I mean, so it's a Catholic country, right? And the thing is that they don't have any problem with the Pope and the gays and all that sort of thing, because every French guy looks gay. So they, you know, they never paid attention to that stuff. But anyway, no. So it's really true. So the women over there, they're all fantastic. They look fantastic, you know, and they got great egos because it's like being tall. It's like they're sort of like nobody's you know getting in their way. And the people who are really second-class citizens are the kids, because it should be. You know, it's like it's not. No, really, it's like, you know, we give our kids way too much leeway, and I'm going to go back to that oldest son of mine, who didn't change that much with the twins, so I should have really rethought that. But anyway, so no, he says to me, hey, you know, Mom, I was in your room, I was going through Dad's dresser. You know, and you're just like, you know, when I was growing up, you could barely tiptoe past your parents' door, particularly as clothes man. And, you know, I don't even think I knew their first names until I was in college. Like, you didn't know about these people, and you didn't get in their business, for God's sake. Oh, there's a tray. You can't see anything when you're near a track. But, okay, sorry. I was distracted. So I said, you know, Brian, Max, I was thinking, you know, we found the pot or whatever, and he says, oh, I found a vibrator. And so I'm thinking, this is such a teaching moment. So I said, you know, no, son, that's a dildo. And he says, well, does that mean Dad's gay? And I said, no, son, it means he's lazy. Yeah, so, you guys are getting like the whole picture about my family. Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, I don't want your pity. I really don't. But, yeah, so, no, but it's been a kind of rough road. You gotta be tough. And I do fight for women's rights. For 8 years, so I was like not that well, but there were a lot of people. So I went down there, and you're just looking around, and you're thinking, what does it all mean? And you know, what's with making decisions for women? Like, what's going on? It's about healthcare. It's about this and that. And you know, when does life begin? As an embryo in a freezer in Alabama, or what? What, you know? So. Anyway, the question is, you know, when does life begin? That's what everybody wants the answer to. And I have to tell you, it's when the kids go to college and your dog dies. Like, let's not overthink this. It's so dumb. I mean, I think if we just kept it simple, folks, you know, and yeah. So, so I was gonna go, but I was just thinking about Jim and his poor cats, and what we really didn't get to the bottom of is, was that his decision? No, I want to know, because people are weird about the animals they have, and I'm a dog lover, love, do. I do dogs from kill shelters and all. I love that whole idea, so I do that, but I have another friend who, she loves dogs too, but she's got a little bit of a bully of a husband, and he's like, oh, I asked like my name's a dog, a dog. So she was really sad, you know, like her children were getting older and didn't need her. You know how that shifts for some of these people, and they're like, oh my God, who loves me? And, the pain, right? So painful. But, so, you know, she needed somebody she actually wanted to sleep with. But anyway, it happened. So anyway, so she says to this husband, she's like, I really want a dog. I want, you know, one of these cockapoodle-y things and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no. And she's like, I'm getting this fancy dog. And he goes, well, then I'm expecting like whole month's worth of blowjobs. And so she comes, you know, she tells me, and I'm like, you know, how much you like that dog? So I said, why don't you go back and find out, you know, what happens if you go to a shelter, you get a mutt. So she goes back and he says, you know, okay, 2 weeks. 2 weeks of blowjobs, you get the dog from the shelter or whatever. And I said, why don't you get the asshole a service dog and train him to do it? It's so simple. Jim never thought of that. And he was in the Navy. Okay, I'm pretty sure that Jeff, are you here?
He made it.
He did? Oh my God, Jeff made it. Okay, we love Jeff. I'm not, is he coming up next?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gathering himself.
He's gathering himself. Oh, these fancy men. Okay, anyway, sorry. I love Jeff. Jeff Greenfield's going to come up, so I hope that he's gathered himself well enough. I'm Kim Berns. Thanks so much.